Welcome back, everyone. At this point, we've covered a lot of information, so I thought a helpful recap would be good. So you've built your website, you've got your business bank account set up. Now we're gonna move into how do we spread the brand name and get more customers, talking with social media expert Ali Archer. You're gonna love this episode. We talk all things social media. We'll see you in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Ali Archer, and she's going to be talking to us all about social media marketing and strategy. One of probably the most daunting and intimidating processes we get started with our business. So Ali, thanks for being here. So excited to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to get started and talk about this.
So one of the things that we're doing with the course is really walking people through, as they're launching their business, some of the key processes about the business that aren't necessarily where our expertise is. So wanted to have someone who specializes in this day in and day out. And I remember when I launched my business, it was really intimidating, really, because you're putting yourself out there, you're building your brand, but there's some of that aspect of I need to be everywhere. What do I exactly want to be doing? Because I know from experience, I don't want to necessarily be posting everywhere, which is what I started with. How do you typically advise people to get started when they're really entering this unknown territory with their business?
Well, social media is huge. Obviously, it's been a huge part of every business today. When it was starting, people were making Facebook pages and it was doing a fan page. And if you had a Facebook page and a Twitter, then you were on point. And
like
you were
ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and you maybe delegated that to your assistant or maybe a secretary, someone that was like just kind of updating tweets
Somewhat
or an intern.
savvy.
Yeah, and it was pretty easy to manage.
Okay.
And then as that's become so crucial to any marketing well-rounded strategy, all these other platforms have been coming up. Everyone's spending all this time on their phones. We have, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, blogging, podcasts. Like we have so many platforms and there's a lot of noise.
Yep.
So one of the best things that I recommend everyone does is to create an email list.
Okay.
And then choose one platform that's going to be their main focus.
Okay.
So for a lot of people, that's going to be email and Instagram, or it might be email and LinkedIn. And just focusing your brand, your messaging and what you're trying to promote and what value you're trying to bring with that platform in the context of that platform will help you not waste all your time trying to be everywhere.
Absolutely, because there's certain posts that are going to be relevant or more applicable to that platform than others. So it kind of is already funneling you in the direction almost that you want to be going.
Exactly, and every platform has a different context. So if you think about like any social media, if you're on Instagram, you're just kind of scrolling through, you're seeing, maybe it's your friends that you follow, maybe you follow bloggers or celebrities, and you kind of have a mix of people. Then if you're on Facebook, you have your family, your friends. You're going to be in a different mindset or mood than you're going to be on Instagram. Or even like Pinterest, that's very aspirational, planning, beautiful homes, recipes. It's very different. So you want to make sure that your content's tailored to the platform that you're on. And it's so much easier when you're just focusing on one, because if you're trying to blast out the same message everywhere, it might not resonate with your ideal client, even if that same client, your ideal client or customer, is on that platform and sees it on different platforms, it might be confusing.
Well, and I think that's such a huge point. So maybe we can dive into that a little bit more, because the ideal customer is also who you really want to have in mind, right? I remember when I first started, it was a little bit of I wanted to serve everyone, and especially with finance, which can be applicable to everyone, it was hard to really figure out what should that messaging look like. And I don't think it was until I figured out like what that avatar or who that avatar was that it got a little bit better. So how do you kind of help people make that decision and go through that process?
So that process is huge, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that's probably the first thing you want to do before you do any
not 6
content.
months in like I did.
Yeah, exactly. Your client avatar is basically like a profile that you go through, like a process that you go through to kind of define who your client is or customer. And
how detailed do you go with that? Because I mean, I've heard some that go down to like pretending what they're watching for TV. You know, like how extreme do you like to go? Or the more
I
extreme,
mean,
the better.
that I think is super helpful. The more detailed, the better.
Okay.
You don't want to spend too much time on this section, but
Sure.
of course, it's super important to figure out who your client or customer is, how old are they, like around what age they are. You can give them a name. So you say Jill from San Diego is 32 years old and she loves walking her dog every morning. She works in the finance industry, but has like a side hustle with interior decorating and loves to watch Queer Eye on Netflix. You can get detail, but like these little things will come up, and then you can kind of figure out, okay, like how are you going to tell your message? And then when you're on online communities like Facebook, or if you're on Amazon reviews, like that are similar to where your target client or customer is writing things, then you want to kind of pick up on those phrasing and those messages that they're putting out.
Great point.
And then you can kind of use that information to tailor all of your content, so that you want it to, any content that you put out, you want it to feel like you're speaking to your ideal customer.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we talked about, and again, this was 6 months of my mistake, so that's why I included it. But in episode 1, when we were developing the business plan, that was exactly what we hit on, was when you're thinking about that marketing experience, it's like, who are they, where are they, what problem are you solving? So I think as more you could get as detailed with that avatar as possible, the better. And so then you're starting to speak with them, but you also talked about the importance of the email list. So like that initial platform is kind of how you're grabbing their attention. What is so important about the email list, and how do you utilize that when you're working with clients?
So email is huge, and it's something that you actually own. So if you have an email list and somebody opts in and they say, yes, I want to hear from you, it's like you get an invitation into their kitchen, like into their house. It's something that's super like intimate, because you're in their inbox. And so they're giving you permission to give them information, and then they can unsubscribe if they don't feel like it's a fit. And if people unsubscribe, it is okay. I tell all my clients that are brand new with email.
It does hurt your feelings. I've had a few of them. I know what it feels like.
At first, your first couple unsubscribes are gonna be like, what?
How could they?
I feel so bad. But it's really like, you want to make sure that everyone on your list is targeted to like your ideal person that they're going to buy from you at some point. And they may not buy right away, they might buy later on, but it's just really valuable to have them on your list. If people leave, then that's okay, because it's better to have a smaller list that's converting than 20,000 leads that you bought from some random company that may or may not be a good fit.
And I think that's a huge point, because I've also gone ahead, and now what's great about a lot of these marketing or email marketing platforms that you can utilize is you'll get the analytics as far as who's opening it. I think mine says often, sometimes, and rarely. And actually what I'm going through now is monthly, I'm unsubscribing the people who are rarely opening it, because I want that higher click-through rate. And I believe Gmail rewards me as my open rate and click rate is higher. So I've actually kind of gotten over that process of, don't unsubscribe people, and I'm trying to get better quality as opposed to quantity. So how important is that? Because I think as a new owner, sometimes you're like, oh my God, I need as many people on this list as possible. And it can kind of feel like you're talking out of two sides of your mouth as the new owner. Like, I want people, but I want really high quality people. And I think it is important, right, to focus more on the quality than the quantity.
Quality, 100%, because especially with an email platform, especially when you have automation and stuff that you have to pay for it. Like my ConvertKit is what I use. I love it. You can use MailChimp, you can use Aweber, ActiveCampaign. There's a ton of different
And we'll put a whole list together as far as some of the ones that we typically utilize.
Yeah, and you literally pay, like the more subscribers you have, the more you have to pay for it. So you want it to be really good quality. And you want to make sure that the content that you're putting out there is valuable too. You don't want to be having like pitching and selling every single email. You can naturally sell, but you want to make sure that you are positioning your business or your brand as the expert, the go-to in that niche. And as long as you're speaking to your ideal customer and you're using their voice and you're being friendly and you're like giving valuable information, they're going to want to keep opening your emails. And then at some point, when you've built up that trust, everything is about know, like, and trust. At that point, then they might say like, oh yeah, they're doing a webinar and they're going to sell a product, or they're having an event where they're releasing new samples of their latest granola bar. I don't know.
Do you recommend a particular cadence that someone who's getting started follows as far as that kind of, giveaway, sell, give away, something like that? Is there like something that they maybe should be thinking about following that would be helpful so they don't feel kind of overwhelmed with what that might look like?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because when you hear like, oh, I need to start an email list, I need to do all these things. And I remember, like, for me, I didn't start an email list for my travel website for maybe 2 years, even though I should have. Because everyone tells you, you need to do it, and you need to give out information. You're like, I don't know what to say.
Yep.
So
that can be a challenge for people.
Yeah,
right?
But then I look at my Google Analytics, and I look at times when I had a viral post or I had a guest post that like brought me a lot of traffic, and I wasn't capturing those emails, and I missed out on so many emails, like potential leads.
Absolutely.
So as far as like doing like the content, kind of what you mentioned, giveaway, sell. If you are familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V.
Yep, the jab, punch.
Jab, right hook. Great book and just great framework to think about, but just, excuse me, but just doing just some sort of content that's like, you have to think of it, well, it's like an email funnel. It's like a sales funnel. And if anyone's familiar with like a legit shaped funnel, people at the top are going to be subscribing, and they're going to need to know like the education piece, like educate them on the topic, why it's important, what it's all about. And then they kind of start to go down, and as they get further, they like learn more about things. And then you throw in some agitation pieces, so like, why aren't you doing this already? Or why aren't you using this? What's taking so long? And this is obviously going to depend on what you're selling. So this is extremely general. And then you give them like the solution, which is like the dream. This is the benefits. This is what your life could be, how your life could be improved with this product or service. And that's more like at the end, I would say.
Sure.
And that's like selling them. And then of course, if people don't buy right away, that's okay. You want to have like nurture emails that are going where you're naturally giving valuable information. We might be selling, soft selling.
I think I saw something recently that I think my brother was the one who sent to me, but Tony Robbins had a speech, or he was talking something to that effect, and he had mentioned that now in this kind of online selling community, it takes like 16 touches for the average like online product to get actually from introduction to sale, which kind of blew me away. But then I was thinking about even my own experience, and it actually kind of makes sense. You kind of have to keep getting, like you were saying earlier, there's so much noise, so many things pulling us different directions that I think you kind of need to repeatedly almost get hit over the head with things before you finally like, oh yeah, I should probably be buying that. How have you, I mean, 16 seems maybe a tie, maybe it's not, but how have you found like the general amount of touches that probably you're going to need to see before maybe a conversion goes through? And I guess it depends, so that's a tough maybe question to ask.
I mean, yeah, it definitely does depend. The 16 touches thing, I totally believe that. I remember when I was in college 6-7 years ago, and I studied PR marketing, they told us, I think it was 7 touches from 5 different sources.
Okay, interesting.
So 16 touches from the same person, whatever. Just it's usually not the first touch, I would say.
Sure.
Like the first
It's
times
rare
you
that
were
that's
ever
gonna
introduced
happen.
to somebody, it's probably not going to be the first time they like buy. So that's why you always want to start with valuable content and at the education piece, and then move into things. So some things that can help increase your conversions are video and or audio. So whether you're doing live streams on Facebook, Instagram stories, webinars,
like anything to connect
podcasts,
closer, right?
Anything that connects and have them have like more humanize the brand. Is really helpful, especially if you're a personal brand selling online courses, coaching services, like, and you're promoting like you as a person. That's really going to help build that trust factor. And it helps kind of like if you were to do a sales call with somebody, if you think about it, like it would in any industry, that's going to be better than doing like a back and forth email because you get to speak and actually like hear that person.
And to your point on the video, even better is when you can get face to face, because you can read body language, start to understand, are they comfortable, uncomfortable, ready to move forward or not. So it's kind of like those different tiers of really getting in front of someone, right?
Exactly. And with the good thing about video with social media and sharing it out with your email list, with Instagram.
So many ways to
There's so many ways to reach people too. And instead of having one-on-one sales calls where you have to, that's your time spent, then it's kind of like having a sales call, but with the masses. And then, those more people get to see you. And
it's literally like your own little salesperson that you can now have, out there and working for you on an ongoing basis. So you have social media really to kind of get the eyeballs on you and your company, and you're ideally picking the platform where your avatar, ideal client, ideal buyer, whoever they may be, lives. And then that's kind of a way of getting in front of them. You're then trying to figure out how to convert them to join your email list. Is there a way that someone might be able to do that effectively? Because it might not just be, hey, sign up and come join us, right? Is there something that you found effective to go from, we've got your attention to now, come kind of join this community that we've built, so to speak?
Yeah, and I've never signed up for someone that says subscribe for updates.
No?
So
You don't want to just join random newsletters?
I just found this website. Subscribe for updates. That's just not inviting.
I had that to start, by the way. Basically that exact thing.
Everyone has that to start. Everyone does.
Not surprising how little effect that has.
Yeah. But the best way to do it is something called a lead magnet. Some people call it freebie, some people call it freemium, just something that is a free digital download, or it could be a discount or free shipping, like whatever you're selling, or like whatever your business kind of, like whatever makes sense for your business. And then you have that free whatever that's in exchange for the email address.
So we're basically making a transaction there. I'm giving you the free information, you're giving me the email back as a...
And it's very clear. You want to make sure that they know that they're signing up for in exchange for email. And then in the confirmation email, you say, I'll give you more inspiration and tips or whatever on this topic, and then unsubscribe at any time. And so I think the best, because when you sign up for an email list, there's like that box. So if everyone is familiar with like a box or like a landing page that has a box where you put your email in. So most platforms have the ability to create those, whether it's MailChimp, ConvertKit, whatever. You can create the opt-in page. You can make it super simple. Just say like download the free lead, or not the free lead, don't call it lead magnet. Download the free checklist, or download
take your quiz, or
take your quiz, or get the first chapter of my book for free in exchange for your email, and then I'll send you 5 additional tips for 5 days straight. That's like a funnel. And then about this topic. And so how you can promote that, one of the best ways that I recommend doing it is creating like a bit.ly, like a bit.ly link. It makes it really easy just to share. And you can put that in your Instagram bio, your LinkedIn bio. You can use it whenever someone randomly comes up to you like, oh, like I have a question about this. And if it makes sense with your lead magnet, then like here's my thing.
So I know it totally depends. That's maybe an unfair question. But one of the things that I definitely noticed with my own business when I started, and that's why I think don't discount this part of the process, and maybe where it is applicable to hire someone early, because I was wasting, $50 here on Facebook ads, I think $150 here on Yelp ads. I mean, I was kind of spending money on the marketing side without really understanding what that real strategy was and how it was ultimately going to lead to business. So I think initially people kind of think, oh God, I might not be able to afford this. But when I go back in time and look at all those little, what I thought were little increments of money that I was spending on these ads, and that I got basically zero ROI on any of them, I think it might be one of those areas where it is actually helpful to partner with someone early, learn, maybe even if you're just kind of understanding how this all works, and then later maybe you get a better grip on it. I don't know how that's been with your experience, but I certainly, if I could go back in time, maybe would have done things a little bit differently.
Me too. I mean, I definitely have spent hours and hours on Google University, deep into page 5, 6, 7, just trying to find answers to things. And a lot of times if you are resourceful, you can use free content, whether it's blog posts or YouTube or all these like ways to learn things. So I do think if you're brand new, you don't have any budget, you're clueless about the stuff, it can be helpful to get your bearings and just get resourceful and just spend time doing that.
If I can add to that too, one of the things that I thought was really effective, find the people that you think are really creative in marketing and subscribe to their email list, right? Because I've gotten some good nuggets on how they've done it, and that, to your point, was a really helpful kind of getting started process. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just
you're
made
fine.
me think of it.
Yeah, and it's helpful just to kind of understand different trends with marketing and stuff, because it's always changing. But as far as like your business goes, like obviously marketing is going to be a huge part of it. It's going to be one of the main drivers of your sales, which is the lifeblood of your business. But at the same time, it's helpful just to be focused, like I mentioned, email list and then 1 or 2 other platforms, and just kind of focus when you don't have time, and then outsource the rest if you can.
And if I can, I'd love to dive in on that, because focus is critical. And you just made me think of this. I was especially early with my marketing, I thought by saying the same thing over and over, I was going to get boring. And so I remember, like, even though I am finance, that is my one and only lane, I started, posting about fitness and kind of things that I thought would keep it interesting, so to speak, for the people that were following me, which it wasn't a lot, but it confused people. They were really like, is he changing his business? What's going on? And so I got a lot of negative feedback about that, which was eye-opening because I was like, oh gosh, I'm really sabotaging my own marketing efforts. And how important is focus? Because even though it can feel stale and maybe that you're saying the same thing over and over, I think we have to put ourselves in their shoes that they're not necessarily thinking that is the case.
Yeah.
So that was something that I think was really eye-opening for me as a new owner.
Yeah, and that's good that you mentioned that because having a niche is super important and just being really laser focused on who you're serving. And so like the one sentence statement is something I tell my clients.
Oh, what's that?
Just like saying who you are and who you help.
Okay.
So you just say, I help, and then you insert your like target customer. So I help, busy moms do with or whatever, like I help them do, and then whatever your solution is. So maybe I help busy moms find easy vegan recipes or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not vegan,
more
I'm not a
detailed, the better,
mom,
though,
but
probably,
just
right?
like I help busy moms with easy, fun, like vegan recipes that their kids are obsessed with. Or
I like that.
make it sound better than what I just sounded, but it's something like that. So
Yeah.
I help whoever your target customer is do this, and then all of your content needs to like be funneling toward that statement, so that if anyone comes on your Instagram page, your LinkedIn page, your Facebook page, whatever you're focusing on,
what you're about.
they know what they're gonna get, and they know if they scroll through the content, they're not gonna see Becky's sister's Starbucks run with her dog. It's like it's gonna be focused. So as far as you were saying about Facebook ads, I say this with my clients all the time. They say, oh, I just boosted a post and I got like 3 likes and it didn't do anything, and it's not the best route to do.
Yep.
I feel like so many people are guilty of that, and it's totally fine if you've done that before. My best piece of advice is to actually use the Facebook Ads Manager, which is because Facebook owns Instagram too. So all of your ads that are run through Facebook or Instagram, you definitely want to be using the Facebook Business Ads Manager. And you can do that really easily on desktop. You want to get something installed called the Facebook Pixel. So I don't want to overwhelm anybody. This is a quick Google search, getting too technical. But that's going to help you just get your website ready to, reach. It's just going to, Google it. It'll be like worth it. Or hire someone to help you, because it's really important.
The Facebook Pixel.
Yeah,
right?
Facebook Pixel basically tracks the website, so it tracks people that are visiting, and then if you want to retarget those people that are already on your website with an ad, you can do that, or you can target like lookalikes, so people that are similar to the people that are coming to your website, or similar to your email list or customer list. It's really customizable, which is really helpful, and you get a lot more specific than a simple boosted post. And with that, you can track a lot of the stats more. You can see if people are actually buying your product. You can see if people are signing up.
You can evaluate the ad.
You can evaluate. And because whenever you're spending money, especially when you're first starting out, you really want to put all of your hard-earned dollars toward the right thing. So whether you're investing in like a business coach, a business mastermind, and outsourcing pieces like graphic design or marketing or other parts of your business, just like trying to figure out how can I best put my money.
Sure, yeah, it's one of the hardest things.
And then it is hard, but it's so important to try to invest your money wisely.
Absolutely, and that's, I think, one of the big things is going to be tracking that. So we'll include kind of a template for you guys too on some of the key measures that you can kind of be monitoring on an ongoing basis to make sure that you're on top of some of these what can often be intimidating metrics to be keeping track of. But I think that's an awesome point, and that's a great place to recap, I think. So we covered a lot of information, kind of walking through these different stages, right? You just started the company, trying to get your brand out. Pick a lane. So find that social media platform. I mean, now you actually have the ability to compete with some of these bigger companies. That wasn't the case a decade ago. So this is a huge advantage to be able to tap into. So find your lane, figure out where your avatar is, right? Talk directly to them, solve that person's problem, figure out where they're going to be, get in front of them, but then figure out some way to now capture that lead, right? You're talked about freebies, different ideas that you can come up with in order to make that transaction of an email address for that freebie, get them on your email list, start giving them some great information, get in front of them, and ultimately convert them from a community member to a buyer, right? And so we kind of hit all of these different sequences that ultimately can land you from just being a stranger to an actual buyer of your product or service. So that was a lot of awesome information, Allie. Thank you so much for being on here. Where can people find more of you if they now realize, wow, this is a lot of great information, but there's still some intimidating stuff that I could use some help with?
Yeah, so DM me on Instagram. I respond to all of my DMs. I'm at Allie Archers. That's ALLYARCHER. I post a lot about travel on there, but also self-development and business tips as well. I help other people do marketing online too, like kind of do what I do. So I have stuff like on that, but then I post general stuff too.
Awesome.
So that's probably the best way to get in touch with me, at Allie Archer. I also have a travel website, goseekexplore.com, if you're interested in that kind of thing, but yeah.
More and more people are, so it'd be a good place to find you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on. I really enjoyed the conversation. I know everyone got a lot out of it, so thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you, Allie. Ton of helpful information on social media. Now in the next section, we're going to be talking about video and how you can get into content creation for all that social media. We'll see you in there.